Good morning, everybody. My name's Amy Howard, and we take a Maker Monday just aside to be able to show you how to be able to do different projects that we feel that can make your life more beautiful. That's why we have the term crafting a beautiful life. I'm going to show you something this morning that is fun, quick, and easy. Maybe something that you've always wondered about, and it's probably a product that you've seen in high-end gift shops that you thought, that's really pretty, that's really elegant, but you had no idea that you could do it yourself. And that is glass etching, or etching on glass. So I want to show you a few examples of things that we have done from pieces that we have gotten at Goodwill, garage sales, estate sales, and if any of you have followed me on social media for any amount of time, you're going to know that I love going to estate sales and garage sales, or any of those things. Jean and I both do. One of the best buys that you can get at an estate sale is glass. Glass and linens are by far, on the very first day, one of the best deals that you can get. So if you wait until Sunday or the last day, you can usually get them for about 50% off. So all the casserole dishes, Pyrex dishes, any glasses, plates, that type thing, you can get really inexpensive. You can also get a lot of these glass pieces at the Dollar Tree, and even some of them at Target, which we always talk about as our lovingly store, our love store, Target. So, all right, so let's look at a few of the examples this morning that I'm going to show you with our stencils and our etching cream, how simple and easy it is. So, I want to show you, this is actually a Pyrex dish that I had gotten at an estate sale. And I want you to be able to see just how beautiful. This is permanently etched, guys. And if you're not familiar with it, etching is actually etching into the glass itself. It's permanent. You put it in the dishwasher. You can use it. You can bake with it. It's permanent. It is in the glass. Is that not fab? You can actually even put your name on here. If anybody knows maybe certain things, this is our little French sheep, which I think he's an adorable addition to any of your plateware or your cooking dishes, anything like this. So that way everybody would know. If you take to a potluck, we love potlucks. Of course, you know I'm from the South. You can tell by the way I talk. But we love potlucks, and then that way everybody knows that that's your dish. You can tell them. Everything with the sheep on it's mine. All right, so another thing I want to be able to show you, and I'm going to be working with these words this morning. You probably see these little covers for cheese. I use them for all kinds of things, for candles to be able to keep the fragrance in. But look at the beautiful words that are over this. This is one of the stencils I'm going to show you this morning. Guys, this is permanent. This isn't going anywhere. Like I said, I can wash this. I can put it in the dishwasher. I can use it over and over again, and it is etched into the glass. So it's just an incredibly expensive, rich-looking thing to be able to do to glass. Now, here's another idea. See where we've just etched it with the words? This is actually etching the entire piece, and I just used those little sail dots of paper dots, and they were adhesive stickers, and I put them all over the glass and then put the etching cream over all of it, so it actually etched the glass and made it look frosted. Isn't that fun? Now, just as a reminder, if you're watching, it is 10 o'clock Central Standard Time here in Memphis, Tennessee. And if you have questions about what I'm going to be showing you about etching glass this morning, feel free to ask me questions, because we always say there's no dumb questions. It's a way that everybody can learn on how to be able to do it. But I promise this is going to be one of the easiest projects that you have ever done. I want to just show you a few more examples. These are just some glass plates that I use all the time, and I do get them at estate sales. I don't usually get them at Dollar Tree because they're not heavy enough. The ones from estate sales are really heavy as a rule because they're probably older. This is a really heavy glass plate. But here's the really cool thing is I'm going to be taking dinner over to a couple's house tonight that had their baby had surgery, and I love just being able to let somebody keep what I gave them. That's why I love giving Pyrex dishes or glasses like this. But you could put some cookies or just whatever dessert or whatever you make on a plate like this, cover it up with some saran wrap, and give it to them. And isn't that beautiful? Now they've got a gift to remember what you brought them. I love that. But just the words on here as far as simplicity and courage and love and blessed, faith, gratitude. It's just a beautiful plate to be able to give to somebody as a gift, but also give them maybe some cookies or whatever that you've made. Look at this. Here's a couple of things over here, and then I'm going to show you how to do this. Look at this. Look at this glass. So this could be a dessert glass. You could have different glasses like this that you do yogurt parfaits in, or chocolate mousse or whatever what you make, and then put your whipped cream on the top. And then everybody can have a different word. Don't you love that? That's just adding such an incredible detail to how you entertain. And here was just a decanter. Now, I think it's a really cool thing to have fresh water beside your bed. That way, if you want to just be able to put some spring water in here and be able to have it in the morning or at night. And it's fun. This is one of our bee stencils that we have that we actually etched. Now remember, with the stencils, you don't have to use the entire stencil, just use part of it. And look how we even used just the bee. Look at the detail of his wings and everything. We got this decanter at Target for $12. So a lot of people are like, well, Amy, that looks like a liquor decanter. You can use things like this, though, for water or for orange juice or for anything. It's just a pretty container that has a cover on it to be able to use, and I just think it's really pretty, so I use it for anything. Okay, are there any questions thus far? Is everybody good? So the main thing you need to remember is etching is permanent. Whatever you put it on, it's going to etch into the glass itself, so it's permanent. It's not going to come off. It's dishwasher safe, it's microwavable safe, and you can bake it in the oven. And once it's done, it's good. So you don't have to worry about it coming off or anything. A lot of people think it's going to rinse off. All right, so here's a vase that I had that we did some different words on, because we talk about this too, as far as if you have flowers maybe from your garden. And my mother loves flowers. I didn't realize how much until now. But to be able to cut some flowers from your garden and put it in a vase and be able to personalize it like this and give to someone. But this one, I love it. It's Be Still and Know. And so I've got my stencil words here. This is one of our brand new stencils that we just released last week. It's beautiful. Be still and know. Faith over fear, simplicity, love, happiness, peace, blessed, courage, gratitude, hope. These words are powerful. They're life-changing. And I just love how we can use these on things that we make, things that we give to people. You know, we're not going to talk about it today, but if you're familiar with our inks, you could just have a t-shirt that just says blessed. Just a simple little t-shirt, just the words blessed on there. I think it would be awesome. But today we're talking about etching cream. And just to show you the versatility of our stencils, you can use this with our gel inks, you can use this with our chalk arts, and you can use it with our etching cream. All right, so one thing, we do have a bundle that we've put together today that we always like to put a bundle together, something that we show you, and we add savings to it. So you're gonna get a container of etching cream, this stencil, and an artist brush when you get this bundle. So that way you can look and you'll see information on our website, or the maker who shared this with you today, that you can go to her link and purchase it, and we'll ship it right to you. The other cool thing is now, and you may not know this, on our brand new website, so you want to go over to makerstudio.com. We have free shipping, $25 and over, you get free shipping. So that way your crafting and your making things doesn't have to be expensive. And a lot of people, we love the fact that the makers love making things and turning around and selling them on their Etsy shop or in an antique mall or whatever. So, all right, so one thing I want you to notice on here, it's got little lines. So let's just do a close-up. So you're like, do I use the whole sheet? I would like you to cut these. That's why I want you to keep up with this little envelope with this that we've got, because I would really prefer that you put your stencils back in here and keep that together. So I've just got some scissors, and I'm gonna cut this word hope out. Now remember, I can use this with other products on other surfaces as well. So I can wash this when I'm finished, and it's totally reusable. All right, do you not love that font? The font is basically the style of the letter, but I just think that is so, so beautiful. All right, so the other thing you're gonna notice, maybe you've watched this many times before, and you're like, Amy, you tell us this every time. But there may be somebody that's watching that has not worked with our stencils before. And it's going to be important that they make sure that they know how to do it. So make sure that your glass is nice and clean before you add your stencil. And I usually keep the vases when I get flowers. Somebody sends me flowers. I usually keep the vases, and then that way I can do little projects with it. All right, so I'm going to take my stencil. You're going to notice that it's adhesive. So the back of it, can you see through there? There's a mesh, so you can actually see this is what you're going to be pressing the etching cream through. And the cool thing about it is because it's adhesive, it's washable and you can use it multiple times. I can use it on a lot of different projects. All right, so I'm just going to lay this across here. The other thing you want to make sure, especially when you're working on a curved surface, is you want to make sure that the stencil is pressed down really, really well. Here's the other thing. If you're nervous about getting to the edge, because see, you don't have very much room right here, if you want, you can set a piece of tape there so that way you don't get on the edge, because you don't want to get this etching cream on the edge or it's going to make little rivets and it won't look as clean and pretty as it will if you've stayed off of the edge. So if you're nervous about that, just get some painter's tape and put around the edge like that. All right. So the other thing is you're going to have your etching cream. Remember, if you get this bundle, we're going to send you an artist brush, this etching cream, as well as the stencil. So you're going to be able to do the projects that I'm showing you here today. All right, the next thing you want to make sure is you shake this etching cream up really well every time you use it, because it will have a tendency to settle. So just make sure that you shake it up really well. And the other thing is you want to make sure it's got a child protective top on it. Make sure you close it up really well, because this can be fairly toxic if you're not careful. So the other thing is I want to make sure that you're working with a brush that is a little bit stiffer. Some people use sponge brushes. I don't like to use sponge brushes. I like to work with artist brushes like this. And if you want it a little stiffer, you can even clip. See that white part? Just come in and you can clip it just a little bit with your scissors. This is strictly a personal option. And this just makes it a little bit stiffer to be able to work with. But there again, see, that way I've gotten that soft tip off, and that way it's a little bit more of a stippler brush, okay? All right, so I'm gonna dip it down into my etching cream. So you see how very little you need. And as you're applying this on here, I want you to build it up. Now, this isn't like normal painting. That's why every technique that we go over with you there's kind of a different skill set as far as what you're learning. One thing that you need to realize with working with etching cream is the fact that you need to load it up. It would be good if it's about an 1/8 inch thick on here. So I'm going to get it everywhere, and then I'm going to start to agitate it. Now see, look how I need to make sure. Can we get a close-up so they can see that? Stay away from the edge, guys, because if you get it over here on this glass, that's going to create like a little divot, and it'll look like a blob, and you won't have a clean, beautiful edge on it. All right, so I'm going to dip it back in here. See how little this uses? You're going to be able to do so many projects with this. And it's so elegant. To me, it's one of the most classy looks that you can get in kind of do-it-yourself. That's the way we are here. We like making things that would be gifts, something that you might get at a really expensive gift shop, but you get to enjoy the bragging rights. All right, so something else I want you to notice. As a rule, some people will tell you in descriptions, they'll say, well, just put it on and then leave it. Well, I believe you can do that for a minute. But what happens is that if you can continue to come back with a little bit of this etching cream on this stiffer brush, and if you go kind of from side to side and up and down, it continues to try to eat away at that glass, giving you that beautiful, more professional looking etching. Because a lot of times, and depending on where you read or what blog or whatever, they'll say, well, just do it for about a minute, then you're good, take your stencil off, wash it, and you're good to go. I'll be quite honest with you, I think it needs to stay on here for about 3 to 5 minutes. That way the etching cream has a tendency to be able to go in and be a little bit cleaner and a brighter white. Yes?
Carol asked, could you do it on colored glass?
We've tried that on colored glass. It doesn't show up as much, but you can do it on there. It just depends on how dark a hue the colored glass is. We've done it on some green glass and it was really pretty, but there are some darker red glasses and things, and they don't show up that well. I have also done it on a pale pink glass. Just a really, really pale pink, and it was beautiful. So I love that question. See, that's how we learn from one another, being able to ask questions. The other thing is, a lot of people say, can I color the etching cream so I can see it? The answer is no. It really can impede the fact that the etching cream is going to do a beautiful, clean job of giving this gorgeous, gorgeous look. This is about elegance. This is about it being soft, incorporating this with something else. It's not going to be like the gel inks and bright colors. It's more about the textures. That's why we've mixed all these different fonts on this particular stencil that we have in your bundle, so that way just the visual texture of these fonts can really add a lot of detail and beauty to your projects. Yes?
Susan wants to know, should beginners wear gloves?
You know, you can if you want to be able to protect your hands. I'm working with an artist brush here. You notice I just stay away from it. So it's not a problem. When you go to wash it, it might not be a bad idea just to have some little surgery gloves. Let me put my glasses back on. I want to stay away from my edge. So now, as a rule, I won't even sit and let that sit. I'll usually agitate it just a little bit more, but look how it's like blobbed up on there. It's not just about brushing it and having a little bit of application. You want it layered up here. You want it about 1/8 of an inch thick. So just load this up. But because we cut the tip off of our brush, I really want you pressing into it, and as you're doing it, just continuing to agitate it. Because of the sake of time, I don't want y'all to feel like you're just watching paint dry, literally. This is going to sit on here. And agitate it. All right. So now, remember, when you're doing this at home, I would prefer that you allow this to sit on here at least 3 to 5 minutes. That's going to make a big difference in the quality of your piece. Now, just strictly because of time, I'm going to go on and take this off. I really want it to stay on here just a little bit longer, but I don't want y'all to have to sit here. So, I want to make sure, I'm going to take this over. Do you love that? Isn't that beautiful? You know, and I love the fact with these words of encouragement, depending on, maybe you have somebody in the hospital and you want to be able to take in some flowers, and you can just, what a beautiful word just for hope. I mean, if we don't have hope, life can get really discouraging, but I just think that's so beautiful. But I think it would be fun just to be able to lay all these different words all over this vase because I love how they work really well together. I've done a picture frame that I'll have to be showing you this week of how we use that. Now, I want you to be able to take your stencil. You've got it all piled up here with etching cream, and I want you to take it over to the sink and just rinse it off. And once you do, I want you to lay it up so that way the adhesive side of the stencil is going to air dry. And then that way you'll just put it back on, once it's completely dry, set the back on it again, and then put it back in your little bag that your stencil came in. That way you're going to have them. Yes?
A couple of questions. One, Cheryl asked, if it sits longer, will it hurt the glass?
I wouldn't let it sit more than 5 minutes, because what will happen, there's 2 things that we really need to make sure of when we're putting our stencils on. Make sure it's burnished really well all the way around on each one of those letters, because the longer you leave it on, and especially if maybe you didn't burnish an area really good, it can have a tendency to seep under it. That's why I always test on something first. Go to Goodwill. Guys, you can get a piece of glass. You may even have some glass in your kitchen that you would normally throw away, something that you don't just love. Practice on that and kind of bring your skill level up as far as knowing how to burnish it, whether putting a little tape on it, learning about how much to put on, so that way by the time you do it 1 or 2 times, maybe you've messed up a little bit, and then you've got a really clear understanding exactly what to do. But I wouldn't leave it on more than 5 minutes, no. Yes.
Liz asked, can you scrape off the excess after it sits and put it back in the bottle?
No, I would not. No. So with anything, you just need to be able to use it once, make sure, because of taking it out, depending on maybe how you used it on the piece, I don't want to contaminate anything as far as my etching cream. So I would say no on that. Yes. Any other questions? Instagram, do we have questions?
Do you wash the stencil with warm or cold water?
The temperature of the water doesn't matter. I usually have a little natural seawool sponge, and I'll put it in some tap water and wash it off. So no, and I apologize for not having any water up here to be able to show you how to do that. Yes.
Lori asked, can you rinse the stencil while it's still on the glass?
No, you don't want to do that. It's really important. You noticed how when I had the etching cream on here, I am taking the stencil off while the etching cream is still on it. If we washed all this off, you're going to have a tendency to mess it up and to get it dirty. But I love these questions. This is stuff that everybody needs to be able to know as far as being able to do an etching project really well. So the main thing is put that on there with your artist brush. Make sure that it sits there with it loaded up about an 1/8 inch thick for at least 3 to 5 minutes, and then release the stencil and then wash the stencil, then you can use it over again. But now you need to allow this to dry about 45 minutes to an hour, and then you're good to go. You can rinse it, put it in the dishwasher, you can bake with it, anything you want. It's going to be permanent and beautiful. Yes.
How do you clean the brush after?
Just with soap and water. Great question. Just soap and water, and you're good to go, and you can use it for another etching project. All right, so hopefully this was informative. The main thing I want you to realize, it's simple and it's easy. We have created these beautiful stencils that allow you to be able to take your etching cream projects to a new level. It's definitely something that you're going to be able to enjoy the bragging rights with. And you can customize your pieces. We have a whole lot of other stencils. You can go to our brand new website, see how you can use our monogramming stencils. You might even want to be able to do a design like this adorable French sheep on your pieces. Even remember, like with your casserole dishes, they're Pyrex tops, so you can do the tops of your casserole dishes as well, or maybe even the bottom. You want to put your monogram on it. It'll look elegant. You'll be so excited next time there's a potluck. You're going to be able to take your customized casserole dish. Yes.
At what point do you wash the cream off of the glass?
But it's actually permanent. There's no cream that you're going to wash away from the glass. It's there. But I will wash my glass just to be ready to go and use it on a project after about 45 minutes, after it's completely dried. Awesome. Awesome questions, guys. Have a great week. Check in later on this week, and we're going to be showing you what we're working on in the test kitchen here. But if you haven't been to our new website, be sure and go to amakerstudio.com. You're going to see a whole lot of beautiful imagery and ideas to be able to show you how you can craft a beautiful life. Have a great week.